Hey guys, Happy New Year! It's 2023 and I wanted to make this video sooner than I have, but unfortunately I've been sick and yeah, I couldn't do it. And today is the first day where I feel well enough to sit in front of the camera and talk to you guys. In this video, I wanted to talk to you kind of about some reading plans for the year, some reading challenges that I want to take part in if I can, and also just about my reading in January. I haven't released a Tales from Two Trails video yet, and that's because I'm going to be putting it out next week, at the end of next week, and that first round is going to run through the end of January and the whole of February as well. Yeah, just to give everyone and myself a little bit of time to adjust to the year, and then yeah, just have a really good section of reading. And yes, I'm very excited about that because I am going to be making it into a me versus you kind of a game. I'm excited to share that with you next week. I did just want to talk about briefly my reading in December, because for December, if you don't know, I failed my TBR game last year, and so I had to only read books that I pulled from my TBR jar for the whole of December. And I will link down to, well, I put them in a playlist actually, I'll link down to the videos below, but I ended up doing 4 picks from my TBR jar throughout December. And so there are reviews for the 3 books that I managed to complete in December, which were Sapiens, What We Cannot Know, and Other Minds. But yeah, the last book that I pulled out, I didn't actually finish. And so there's not a review for that one, and there can't be a review because I didn't finish it. But I did pull, lastly, Stephen Hawking, A Life in Science. And yeah, I pulled this towards the end of December. It was coming up to Christmas. I was really busy at work, and I ran out of steam a little bit, guys. I did run out of steam. I got to page 36 though, and I was really enjoying what I was reading. I think it's well written. It's written by Michael White and John Gribbin. So I'm definitely looking forward to continuing it on into the future because yeah, it was good, the little bit that I read. So I'm excited to pick it up again. So yeah, my TBR jar definitely kind of backstabbed me in December because every single pick was a non-fiction pick, and I had completely run out of steam with non-fiction by the time I got to Stephen Hawking book. I was like, where are these fiction books? Maybe there's just none in here. So I decided to revamp my TBR jar and put everything in there. It hadn't been updated for a really long time, and so I was thinking probably the fiction books were quite depleted because it has been a couple of years, I think, since I really added any extra new books to it. Or at least a year and a half or something like that, I don't know. Anyway, I decided to go through everything and work out what I still had on my shelves and stuff like that. And the first 3 books that I pulled out, or the first 3 pieces of paper that I pulled out, were all fiction books. And I was like, are you joking me? I did the whole of December and didn't pick any fiction, and the first 3 that I picked out were all fiction. Anyway, that's my beef with the jar. I was really annoyed about that. So yeah, I've added all my new books in. And I've got to show you this pot now because it's absolutely ridiculous. And I need to find a bigger thing to put it in, but am I still in focus? Yeah. Look at that. That is some kind of cappuccino, isn't it? It's so filled to the brim with books that I own and haven't read. So this is also actually terrifying. I do have a list of 40 books I want to read by the time I'm 40, and they're not even in here. So there's 40 more books on top, although I don't own all of those, but yeah, there's more than what is here. I didn't put those in because I want to be able to choose when I read them, because some people did express like wanting to do buddy reads and stuff like that, so I wanted to choose and work things out with people when we read those. But yeah, anyway. Okay, so reading challenges. The first reading challenge that I want to take part in is GenreThon, which is I was going to say is designed by, but that is not the right thing to say. GenreThon is created by Whitney from TBR's Den. And what this is every single month you have to read one book that is a certain different type of genre. Yeah, and I just thought that sounded really fun because I think I do tend to circle around the same types of genres a little bit. My non-fiction books are mainly sciencey non-fiction books, and I read a lot of fantasy now, like way more than I ever did before, and I think everything else kind of falls to the wayside a little bit, so I thought that this would help with that, and it would be a fun challenge to kind of see what other genres I like. And yeah, Whitney's really great. TBR's Den is Whitney's channel, and I'll link it down in the description for you to go and check out. So the prompt for January for GenreThon is actually self-help book or a book which teaches you something new. And so I've gone actually down the self-help book route, which I don't often read, but this is a book that I've had for absolutely ages. My mum got it for me. It's Self-Help for Your Nerves, Learn to Relax and Enjoy Life Again by Overcoming Stress and Fear. And it's by Dr. Claire Weekes. And this was actually written initially back in 1962. It was first published in the UK. So it's really old. But I've started reading it, and I've started reading this book many times in the past, but I've started reading it this last week, and it reads like a really modern book, apart from that she's always saying, like, referring to the imaginary person she's talking about as him, or he did this, his thing, blah, 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 blah. So that's the only thing that dates it. Everything else, just it reads really smoothly so far. But anyway, this isn't a review video, but this is the book that I'm going to read for self-help. I do struggle a bit with anxiety, and I think at the moment my anxiety is lower than it has been in the past, so maybe that's a good time to read this rather than trying to like read it when I'm feeling really anxious. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. The next thing I want to take part in every single month is the viewer prompt from Amy from A-Star Reads' TBR game. Amy has created a TBR game based on the game of life, and it's really fun, it's really great, and Amy is awesome. And yeah, again, Amy's channel will be linked in the description if you don't already know who she is. Every single month when Amy plays this game, and actually I think this year Amy's only going to play every 2 months, but there's going to be a viewer prompt every month regardless of that. So yeah, she rolls one prompt every month for her viewers, and the prompt that was rolled for January was family pick. And so yeah, I had to get someone from my family to pick me a book. I did say to Spencer, who's my partner that I live with, like, are you my family? Like, we're not married, but we've been together 8 years, so I feel like he's my family at this point. It's really weird. There's no, like, when you don't get married, there's no proper transition to family, even though you are family. Anyway, that's like another thing. So yeah, I got him to choose me a book for January, and he chose me The Satsuma Complex by Bob Mortimer. And Bob Mortimer is this English comedian that Spence absolutely loves. And yeah, this is his first novel. I think he has had other books, but I think they've just been more autobiographical book things. And yeah, I found this on the shelf at Waterstones for 75% off because of this tiny little rip down here, which I'm going to take together when I finally pick it up. But yeah, it was only £4.25, so happy about that. Spencer has requested that I listen to the audiobook for this rather than just physical reading it, because Bob narrates it himself. And I do like Bob Mortimer as well, so I'm looking forward to that, to listening to that. And actually, luckily enough, it is on Scribd, so I plan on picking this up really soon. Yeah, and hopefully flying through it because it's really short. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be reading for Amy's viewer prompt. Next up is Buzzwordathon, which is run by Kayla from Books and Lala. I've tried this challenge before, Buzzwordathon, where every single month there is like a word or a theme you have to fulfill. And yeah, I always fail, but I'm going to try again. And just coincidentally, the first book that I've been reading in January fits the prompt for Buzzwordathon for January, which is great. So the prompt is Life or Death. And I have been reading this last week The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And yeah, guys, I'm into the last hour of this. I've got like, I can't work it out, my brain's not working, but maybe about 70 pages left, and I'm really loving it. I kind of want to be reading this right now, to be perfectly honest. And finally, for the year-long challenges, I want to take part in the Year in Aldea, which is part of the Magical Readathon, which is run by G from Book Roast. Now, Magical Readathon, guys, I don't know what's happened with that. I did create a character, I did kind of plan to do all the readathons right from the start and build all my house points and everything like that, you know, just join in right from the beginning. But I think I just got really confused with what was going on, and it's so intricate and detailed that, yeah, I think I was confused and kind of got distracted away from it. But I do want to just start again, I think, with this challenge, and then just yeah, just see what happens, basically. Not take it so seriously, just join in, and then, you know, even if I don't officially dock my points, in my brain I'm joining in, if you know what I mean. I will link down to G's channel as well, and the description of this whole world that G has built, as like, there's so many different side quests, readathons, like year-long reading challenges now. It's so detailed that I wouldn't even know where to start to explain any of it. So I will link it down in the description to her channel, and maybe to her playlist if she has a playlist of everything. I don't know if she does, but yeah. Anyway, Year in Aldia is the year-long reading challenge that she has created for this year. It does incorporate the actual main readathons that take part in April and August, I believe. So hopefully I will be able to join in with those as well when they come around. But for the month of January, I basically had to choose between going left or going right, because it's kind of a choose your own adventure reading challenge. And I can't remember which direction I chose or which direction this was, but I ended up choosing the prompt that was start a series. And the reason that I did that is because I'm joining in once again with Becca in the Books' The Catch-Up Book Club. I read The Whole of the Realm of the Elderlings alongside Becca and her book club, and I really loved it. It was great. The Catch-Up Book Club was a book club created by Becca from Becca in the Books, but she also has other co-hosts each round as well. So I will link down to the announcement video for the book I'm about to speak about, where she talks about who her co-hosts are going to be for the year and everything. So you can go and check it out if you want to join in. But essentially, the next series that they're reading for that book club is Joe Abercrombie's, is it the First Law series? Is that what it's called? Because this is the first book of the First Law trilogy, but then I know that there are other books that we're going to be picking up after this one, which I think are part of the First Law world, maybe. I might have got that wrong, I'm not sure. But this one is The Blade itself, and it is the first book, as I said, of the First Law trilogy. I have no clue if I'm going to like this or not, because it's grim, dark fantasy, and apparently there's lots of violence in it, and as you go further down the series, like, there's lots of war and things like that. So I'm a little bit apprehensive that I won't like it. But I might love it. Who knows? Maybe I love violence more than I think I do. Yeah, so I'm dead excited to start this with them, because generally they read like one book every 2 months, and then they do a live show where everybody chats about it. I think the live show for this one isn't going to be until March, but the reason I want to read it now is, number one, it helps me fulfill this prompt. But number two, I do want to join in with the Bookstar Readalongs. The Bookstar Readalong is run by Amy from A-Star Reads, Danielle from Bookcara, and Paige from Pages with Paige. And this year they're reading the Bone Season series together. And so I really want to join in with that, because I didn't join in with their two series they read last year, and I really miss chatting to everyone in the group. So yeah, I want to get back to that. And I want to read the first book in that series, or for that read along, in February, which is why I want to read this now. I've got lots of things I want to join in with this year. We'll see how it goes, because I'm not that fast a reader. Those are all the reading challenges that I want to join in with. There is a readathon I want to do in January as well, and that is the Whodunit Readathon, which is run by Danielle from Bookcara, Naomi from Naomi's Bookshelf, and Paige from Pages with Paige. This readathon is based around the board game Clue, or Cluedo, depending on where you're from, and all three of the hosts for this readathon have the game as their TBR game. So that's why they've kind of joined forces and they've made it into a readathon. And yeah, I haven't actually planned any books that I'm going to be reading for it. I'm just going to read what I read and then try and find as many clues as I can. So basically, if you fulfill certain prompts, you get certain clues as to who did it, I think. That's how it works. But I will link down to one of their announcement videos for you to check out and find out more if you want to join in, because it's going to be running the whole month of January, and I'm really excited about that. There is a Discord as well where everybody can chat, which is really fun. There are a couple of other books that I want to try and get to in January, and they are 2 books off of my 40 by 40 list. And the first one is actually, controversially for a list like that, it's actually a reread, but it's the only reread on the list, and that's Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I got these books for Christmas. I got the whole Jane Austen set for Christmas from Spencer's parents, and yeah, it's so pretty. Yeah, the reason that I wanted to reread this is because I also wanted to pick up The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. This is a kind of retelling in part of the story of Pride and Prejudice, but it follows the kind of forgotten sister, the sister who's always in the background, Mary. And yeah, I wanted to do a reread of Pride and Prejudice just to make sure I could read it and like pick up on all the little bits about Mary, just in case. I don't know, makes for a better reading experience when reading this, basically. So yeah, these are the 2 books from my 40 by 40 list that I'm aiming to get to in January. Whether or not I do is another thing, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, the books that I'm planning on reading in January is already a hefty stack, and I haven't even played the TBR game yet. However, the TBR game is gonna last right until the end of February, so I'm not too stressed about that. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, oh my gosh, I didn't realise how much I'd already put on this TBR before I'd even played the game. This is insane. This is why I needed 2 weeks at the start to kind of get a head start and everything. Because this is the stack of books that I want to read in January. So yeah, that's everything for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I do plan on posting more this year, fingers crossed, than I did last year. I have lots of ideas of videos that I want to make, I'm really excited about, and that I hope that I can pull off, because I really, really want to do it. I'd absolutely love to hear from you guys what you've been reading since the start of the year. I hope that everybody has had a really good first week. I hope that you guys have not been sick like I have, because that's rubbish. But yeah, and yeah, I hope to see you in the next video. Take care everyone, bye.